Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Toffee TV. It is Thursday, the 6th of March.
Hello.
Happy wedding anniversary to my parents.
Really? How many?
54.
But you're 56, mate.
Again, again, you can't add up, my friend.
That's a long time,
There
isn't it?
you go.
Well done, them.
It is.
And they still talk to each other?
They do.
Yeah.
They do. They do. They've done well.
If you saw
Although
Baz,
my mum hasn't killed them.
I've never met your mum, but... Or have I? I don't think so.
No,
I've seen your dad, though.
You've met me, Dad.
You'd never guess he could be married that long, would you?
No.
You really
He's
wouldn't.
looking good.
You've got good genes there.
He's looking good. Well, there you go.
Passing them on.
Hopefully. Anyway, that's that done. Everton have announced today a refinancing deal for the new stadium.
Yeah.
I know this is something that's been going on,
Expected.
hasn't it? It's been in the background, hasn't it?
Yeah,
We've talked about it a few times, but just treat me like I haven't got a clue. I mean, I have. What it means and why it's been needed, John, and what's been achieved by it.
Yeah. I mean, if we all go back, God knows how long ago, then we all knew that when the stadium was getting built, and it's water under the bridge about whether we should have had loans arranged in advance or all that sort of stuff. But once we got into the throes of it, of a mixture of borrowings and, if you like, shareholder money, fired machinery ultimately, then we all knew that we would end up with a slug of debt, right? And courtesy of the rather haphazard way it was getting done under the previous owner, some of those interest payments were quite punitive, weren't they?
Well, yeah.
And with PSR arguments about them, all sorts of stuff. So you end up with, give or take, 350 million quid that needs to be refinanced. Refinance being, like you say, assume people don't understand all the ins and outs, and why would you? It's a bit like getting a new mortgage, I suppose, or remortgaging because the interest rate's better.
Yeah.
So under the new owners, JP Morgan, a rather large and well-known bank, who have me amongst their customers, buried in the ranks, have gone out to the market and said, hey guys, would you like to lend some money to this football club?
Yeah.
Right? And they fronted it, they being JP Morgan.
Yeah.
And lots of, we don't know who they are, but they're described in the statement as blue chip, which means top-notch companies, said, yeah, we will. We will. And in doing that, it was oversubscribed by fourfold, apparently.
Yeah.
So if you oversimplified that, I suppose, we wanted to borrow 350 million quid and over $1 billion of, 1.4 it would be, wouldn't it? 1.4 billion pounds of monies were offered up by all these institutions, right? And then they picked a basket of those to satisfy the need. And that's ended up with a decent interest rate, which is consistent with market rates over 30-ish years, and will save us a shed load of money in interest payments. And that's what they've done. And as part of that, there was also a facility from JP Morgan that was extended to Everton, which is working capital type stuff, which in the past we would have done with, rights and media funding and that ilk.
Yeah.
Of 130 million quid. So ultimately, we've got a mortgage on our £800 million stadium of about 350 million quid. So as expected, and clearly a reasonably good thing to do. Walking the talk. I think we talked briefly offline, didn't we, before? Walking the talk for TFG.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to say what have they been doing since they got hold of this thing less than 3 months ago, they've got rid of a manager, decided that they're perhaps going to go a different way. Certainly not with Kevin Thelwell as the director of football, maybe not a director of football at all, and then closed out the refinancing of the debt, which probably means the house is reasonably clear now, and the scaremongering 1 billion has been dealt with, and clearly Mashiri put in a load of debt to equity. What was that, 450-ish? And TFG themselves did 230-ish. And we'll have to wait till the accounts come out to see exactly where that money was spent. But clearly it's been spent in places like ACAP 777 and Rights and Media Funding and those sorts of things. And there's devil in the detail there as well, which we may or may not get into tomorrow, I suppose, when we record the next BWB. But interesting times, but they are business people, and behind the scenes they're doing businessy stuff because they've got the space and the time to do it, courtesy of a half decent manager. That's not being disparaging. That's just being deliberately understated. It's taken the pressure off from the on-field stuff by winning football matches.
Yeah.
So let's see the next phases of this sort of transformation, if we want to call it that, which clearly has to involve making the board stronger and making decisions around who the new chief exec's going to be, what happens to the current interim one, who's going to be the commercial person, blah, blah, blah. But they're doing stuff in the background, and it's good stuff.
Well, we know the new chief executive's going to be, don't we? It's when he's coming in.
Yeah,
is the key.
Yeah.
Really.
At the end of the season, we're told, aren't we? People are now openly talking about it being Angus Kinnear. But we got that name quite a long time ago, but we don't do the in-the-know stuff really, do we? And if it is to be him, then that again will bring opinion from people about whether he's done a good or bad job where he's been before. But ultimately, a third-party search company was tasked with finding the person. Yeah. And I think whether people agree or disagree about whether this guy's the right guy or not, most of it's going to be tertiary insight, because most of the people commenting on it won't have even have heard of the guy until he was mentioned as being a potentially future chief exec of Everton. But we talked about him briefly last week, didn't we? On BW, did we talk about him? Yeah. And we can go a bit more on that if we need to, but no great value in speculating. So let's wait and see. But we do suspect, do we not, that he is at least getting consulted on some of the decisions that are being made, hence why the Thelwell thing has been done. And then you're into the next stage. And I think I've done a BWB article, I don't know when the editor is going to publish it, but ultimately the Spark Muddy would say the director of football role as we see it, or has been executed reasonably badly so far by Everton, certainly isn't the way we're going in the future. No. And again, the type of manager that Moyes is and the reputation he's got, excluding Dithering Dave type reputation, again gives some time for the owners not to have to rush into anything if what they want to do requires people of a certain calibre, and if that calibre is not available, then they know full well they've got a safe pair of hands on the tiller, haven't they? Yeah. I think all this would have been different if Deitch had won some games and was still here, because you wouldn't be giving him the keys to the chest of money, would you, to refresh the squad in the summer? No. And that needs to be done. And if behind the scenes, fundamentally, the new chief exec is around and he's being consulted on stuff, then we will see progress. Progress will be being made on some of these things, but we won't necessarily see it unless someone breaks ranks on it and in the know, or has got a contact others haven't got, and so on. So we can anticipate over time. I mean, crikey, there's 12 or 14 players there, isn't there, out of contract? So sometime between now and the end of the season, someone somewhere, whether it's an in the know, a journalist, or whatever, who get a bit of a inkling of what's going on, we're almost going to hear every single one of them get a comment made about them, aren't they? Yeah. Player A is going to get a new contract, player B isn't, player C better take a pay cut, player D, all this sort of stuff. Well, Paddy Boylan's reported. Well, there you 20 minutes ago. I didn't know this, sorry. Apparently, according to the comments, that the Corey isn't getting. Well, there you go. Being offered his extension. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Because Corey, wasn't there a Ghana Gay one as well, quite recent? Well, yesterday, Ghana's apparently just about to sign an extension. So. Oh, okay. But today we've got one saying he isn't, or... No, Ghana's signing a contract, but Decore has been knocked off. Okay. Sorry, I thought it was Ghana. Okay. So Ghana's going to sign it. We're going to exercise... Did we have a 1 year option? Apparently there was an option for Ghana, and Everton have exercised it. Oh, good. Decore's not surprising. Dodgy knees, blah, blah, blah. Extremely expensive old chap on his wages. So, but there's two then, and we can expect all DCL. Surely he's going. But then the sorts of players on that list. But we were talking about it before we come on, and as Ped said, it doesn't necessarily mean Decore's going to leave. Oh no, just not on the amount of money he's not getting what he was getting. So we'll wait and see on that one. And that's the point, isn't it? Did we have an option on him?
On the core, yeah.
As well, right? Okay. So we've said that option, which presumably would have been a roll forward of the existing terms.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. But if you want to stick around, lads, we might like to have you, but not at that amount of money. And then what the player will do is, how much can I get somewhere else without transfer fees being involved and stuff?
Of course, yeah.
And therefore say to them, well, actually, I can get 80 over here or whatever. And we go, okay, see ya.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. But if he likes the place, and who wouldn't? And he might just say, no, I'll stick around, and I will take the pay cut. Ashley Young's been there in the past, hasn't he? He's come off that big pay train and recognised that at a certain age and a certain level of fitness availability.
Someone will give the Corey. Someone will give the Corey better money than Everton will.
Oh, I'm sure.
So
I'm sure.
if you're him, you'd move.
Oh, absolutely. Maybe
no point
overseas
staying,
on
is
a
there?
less stressful league is the place to go.
Well, Saudi,
yeah.
had interest from Saudi before,
Yeah.
so who knows? That might happen again. We
Yeah.
don't know, do we? But we'll just see. But that's a positive step in my eyes.
But as this drips out, which is what's happening, isn't it? If you just naturally, by default, assume all the loan players go back from where they came from, yeah, and then you've got news dripping out about not odd as in funny people, but odd players, just insight comes, then that 12-man group that need decisions made about them just gets smaller and smaller and smaller, doesn't it? So it'd be interesting to see what happens and how we manage the ability to overcome a perception that we've got a big reset that needs to be done. And of course, that converting into some clubs thinking, oh, they're desperate, so we can put the prices up. So, and players, agents doing the same. But I hope we've set some rules by now, about profiles, how much we're prepared to pay, and in some degree stick to them.
Isn't it? Don't you find it a little bit not odd, but obviously Kevin Thelwell's not staying, which we know.
True.
It's out there. So who's making the decisions?
On players. One rather hopes, and we've talked about this in the past, haven't we, that, let's call it recruitment, right? Recruitment is done between the windows, isn't it? So the window closed in January, so the whole of February, a little bit of March, to start the planning process for the next one. And you would like to think that the director of football has made recommendations. You would then like to think that the manager, who will be here after the director of football has gone, will have tweaked that report. Let's call it a report, shall we? Will have tweaked that report, and then someone's executing on it. And I would personally expect, in that circumstances, the oversight of it would now rest with the manager, simply because the guy...
I think it's all on the manager.
Yeah. The guy who's leaving cannot possibly be the guy who's getting listened to very hard.
No.
But it would be the baseline plan that him and his people would have produced. And then you're into, well, what about his team then? If we're going a different way, how many of those people or roles are those that you literally have around a director of football, and how many of them are necessary if you've got a really hands-on manager who's dominating the recruitment process? I think we still need to have some sanity checking. We still need to have some oversight. My view, you can't invest all of it in one individual, right? Particularly not the manager, who by the very nature of his job is more short term. We've got a good manager who maybe can think a bit more expansively than a typical manager would. But I'm just thinking about it, if I'm the owner, I'm thinking the average period of tenure of a Premier League football manager is 18 months. The average contract value...
It's less than that, just 13.
Yeah, even worse, is going down all the time then. The average contract is 3 years. We need to have a mechanism that deals with that risk. And that, as proper business people, that's all they'll do. I say all. It's profiling risk. And the risk with Moyes is a hell of a lot less than it would be with most managers. And Dyche would be way down the list of someone you would trust with that level of authority. So it's going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out. And if we find out that there's some big uplift in profile for a current head of recruitment or something, or a new head of recruitment, and it's all someone we recognise and we know and we think, yeah, that works, then we'll all, even the doubting Thomases amongst us will go, okay, I get it now. And it's a bit like the business bit we just talked about. Let's just give them time and recognise that all what we're talking about, just because they haven't publicised stuff, doesn't mean it isn't.
Oh no,
it isn't happening.
No. I mean, I'm sure David Moyes is sorting it all out.
Yeah.
Kevin Thelwell will be doing other stuff.
Well, he'd be
admin, won't
I'd
be replacing the whole recruitment team.
Well, we've had this conversation for Yonks, haven't we? It hasn't had a good run as a team. Forget the individuals.
Yeah.
As a team, it's not had a good run. And like any team that's losing, some of the team members are top notch, and you would have them.
Yeah.
And others,
I just need strengthening.
Yeah, and others are not. And the thing that needs most strengthening, as we've talked on this channel forever and a day, is the ability to be decisive in decision making and effective communication. I don't mean telling us, but just amongst themselves, if nothing else. And we'll never know until there's decisive leadership whether some of those people can perform better than they have had done so in the past. Yeah. And yet we know that in the manager we do have a decisive leader. And we have seen on the field what happens when a decisive leader who's not shy of making difficult decisions can actually explain those decisions to the people who work around him, and you go 7 undefeated with this pretty much the same group of players. So any degree of maintaining that upside on the field and converting that to some of the behind the scenes performances, and the world's our oyster, mate. It's we need just to understand that the potential for this football club has always been big. We've been underperforming for bloody years, and just reverting to a norm would see us competing in places we can't imagine. I mean, you've just been talking offline about, some of those clubs who are right near the top of the league right now because the so-called treacherous six and their acolytes are in, transition or however you want to call it, and therefore the one remaining one that's performing is running away with the league. Yeah, but all that'll change next season, won't it? When there's some more norming going on. So let's hope when that norming goes on, we find ourselves, in the right place in the league.
Hopefully, Thomas, good morning from San Antonio, nice.
Texas.
And Mark G says, good morning from Virginia. Good morning, people.
It's fab, isn't it, listening for people around the world?
Absolutely. Sergio Vasquez, a YouTube member, says, happy birthday to Illiman and Jay.
Is it today? Yeah.
Birthday.
Yeah. Leo, is it? No, that's July, isn't it?
No, he's
Pisces.
Pisces. Still,
Pisces.
Yeah.
My sister would have been 65 tomorrow.
Really?
Too young.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Very much, John, trying to get us all on a downer.
No, I got myself into a downer.
Yeah.
Just because
save that for offline.
Just because his birthday's one day before hers. So.
Thank you to everyone wishing me mum and dad a happy wedding anniversary. Much appreciated. He's gone here. Gary Ward says howdy. Spruce says, good afternoon, lads. Good news on the refinancing deal.
Good.
Mainly as we are now in a position to work with credible lenders and not payday loan sharks. Club is getting back on its feet and we can look forward to the future.
That's spot on.
Is it?
Oh, absolutely. Anything you do, right, if you're doing it properly, you get upside, don't you? And if you look at JP Morgan as being a worldwide, recognised, top-notch, blah, 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 they are long-term bankers to the Friedkin group. And you would not, or we would not be getting that leverage unless we were owned by somebody who had that track record. Friedkin group, I think on some of the paperwork I've seen, I think the current turnover is about $13 billion a year. So they are a big customer for JP. And they want to keep them happy, and therefore indirectly they're helping us, aren't they? They'll probably get paid for their troubles, but hey ho. So absolutely brilliant. And instead of scrambling around for who will lend us money, we've got very reputable companies queuing up to lend us money.
Okay.
And that's the almost overnight expression of what's happened since the change of ownership.
Okay. Andrew Hughes has got a ticket for the second test event. Well done.
Well done.
Juan says,
Where's
hello.
he sat? I want to know. I'm in the north stand. Oh, yeah. Oh, have you got some in the north stand? Yeah, that's where I am.
I still can't assign a ticket to Zach, so
won't let you.
we're not going.
That's mad.
Classic Everton. I mean, there's loads of stuff that people were sending me messages last night which Everton have messed up on, so there you go. With season tickets and stuff. Andrew, Juan says hello there, studio and chat. Good morning to Vindictus Gaming. Jonathan Rickett says, with JP Morgan refinancing, do you think this kicks Bank of America out naming rights, or can you see us having two banks involved, and is Qatar the favourites for it?
JP have fronted up the refinancing, so the monies are probably with these blue chip companies, which we may or may never know who they are. I really don't know about the Bank of America Qatar thing, because that's all gone quiet, hasn't it? But JP are really TFG's bank,
right? Yeah,
rather than Everton's bank. Yeah. So all things are possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brian says, I was hoping with TFG there wouldn't be any debt at all.
I think we always expected some form of
debt. It was unlikely. They're not the venture capitalists, the people who put money in, businessmen. They're not going to come in.
Consortium of businesses.
They're not going to come in like Middle Eastern. We'd have got like Qataris in or something. They'd have wiped the debt, but these were never going to do it. So it's about managing the debt, isn't it?
That's the key, Baz, when you rightly say manage. We all have, unless you get really old like me and eventually it gets paid off, but we've all had in the past mortgages which as a debt are way above what we can personally afford, but it doesn't matter. You've just only got to be able to pay the repayments, servicing the debt. And so having serviceable debt, and this is going to cost us whatever double figure millions per year, but certainly not the 40, 50 plus whatever it was millions we were paying to short term, very high interest bearing, blah, blah, blah. So it's then not an issue. It's the one about Man United, really. I mean, their fans quite rightly are somewhat disappointed about their ownership and have been for many years, but that's not why they're crap at the moment. It's by poor decisions by managers, the appointments of, and then players bought and all those sorts of things. But ultimately, big organisations with big turnovers can service substantial debt and not really notice. And this is a long-term debt agreement. It's 30 years maybe, And it might be that the debt within it from the blue chip companies is at varying lengths. Not all of them necessarily are going to have 30 years, but the whole thing's going to take 30 years. So happy days. Yeah.
Jack says, afternoon, gents, hope you both well. Looks like we've decided not to extend the core race contract. You think that's the end of him? We've sort of addressed that, haven't we?
I think he's got more Premier League in him, but not at 130 grand a week. So it's up to him, really, isn't it?
He might be.
He might want to.
He might want to stay, and he's happy to take a pay cut. Or Everton might, give him different incentives to push his money up if he meets certain targets or whatever. I don't know. You have to wait and see, don't you?
I'm not sure, personally, why anybody, whoever it is, who's telling journalists or whatever, would be making that information available.
Could be his agent.
Could be.
Everton might be happy that it's out there, but it's out there. So
well, that's where I was going to go, which was, I can't imagine why anyone would do that unless it's to stimulate interest, and that means it comes from the player's side. Because he said, I'm available, that effectively says, doesn't he?
Yeah. Ian's just tuned in for his daily dose of Toffee TV.
Excellent.
That's right. Dan W says, in Liverpool for 24 hours on Sunday, and annoyingly we're away at Wolves. Any recommendations? Well, we're away at Wolves on Saturday, Dan.
There'll be loads of pubs.
I don't know. Go down and have a look at the new stadium.
Albert Dock.
There's always lots to do in Liverpool.
Always.
Other people might give you recommendations. Mike Raff says, good afternoon from Royal Greenwich. Michael Kearney, I can't get a confirmation email. Don't know what that's. Oh, for tickets. I don't know then, Michael, I don't know. Did you get an email straight away, Ped, confirming? Yeah.
I did mine last week.
For the testament, did you?
Did they send emails out to everybody saying, would you like one? or was it?
Well, but season ticket holders.
Eh?
No, I didn't get an email to say whether I wanted one.
Oh, I did last week.
No, if you've bought it, I mean, did you get your confirmation
Yeah, I
straight
got
away?
confirmation straight away when I did it.
Yeah. No, I think that's what Michael's
Oh,
asking.
he's saying he thinks he's done it, but he hasn't got a confirmation.
one.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I don't know. Then Michael, maybe you have to get in touch with the club. I think maybe. But yeah.
So on that, everyone who applied for before got a ticket plus more. Is that how it's worked? Because I never applied before, and then I got an email saying, "Here's a chance if you're interested."
Who knows, mate?
I don't know.
35,000 fans, isn't it?
Oh, they upped it from 25.
35.
Oh, I don't know. I thought it was supposed to be 25, so maybe that's it. Oh, maybe that means that the first test
Making
event
it
went,
up as they go along.
maybe it went well then, the first one. They thought, well, let's give 35 a go.
I just don't understand how
I won't be going on
you
the
can
train.
go online. It doesn't work. I can't assign things to a season ticket holder who's been one for you.
Is it in your friends and family thing?
Yeah. My son.
Stand are you trying?
I've all stand, tried all stands and spoke to Everton. No, yeah, it'll work. No, it doesn't work. So
That's weird.
my like being impressed with Everton is at an all-time
Well,
low.
I'm going to say, yeah, fair dues. I got an email, right? And it, a little button says apply now type of thing.
Yeah.
I hit that. It comes up, says, where do you want? How many do you want? So North Stand, 2 please. And then it said, well, and then I hit enter. And then went, oh, you haven't told us who your guest is.
Yeah, you'll have to put on that.
So I picked my missus, of course, because she's on my friends and family. And then it did
And she's
it.
a season ticket holder.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And it did it. So you say when you do that, it doesn't work.
Comes up, choose sack,
Yeah.
choose sack.
So all the pull down
Then
works.
comes up and goes, doesn't apply, doesn't,
To him.
whatever it is.
Wow.
Well, it does, because he's a season ticket holder and he's had an email. And I've done it 5 different ways.
That's
and
mad.
I've done this. And I just can't be asked. I'm just like, I'm not even interested. I don't even want to go. I would only be going for him.
Because he wants
Because
to.
he wants to. I've got 0 interest in it. Watching Everton's under 21s. Got no interest whatsoever. So.
Is that how it is to 21s again?
So.
It's mad.
It's just, again, they just kill any
But in
enjoyment.
customer relationship, I know we're fans, but in customer relationship terms, that's the worst.
Oh, it is.
Because you go from wanting something to can't be arsed.
Yeah, can't be. I'm not interested.
If it was a competitive process, because you don't get to choose, do you? But
No.
if it was buying a car, you sod it. I'm not
Yeah,
buying
yeah,
the
yeah.
Ford. I'm going to go buy the Toyota. Yeah.
Try and get a ticket at Anfield instead. It's a proper club. Mark G on the super chat says, visiting Liverpool for the first time this spring for the Ipswich game. How do I meet you guys for a coffee or a pint? You'll be waiting a long time to meet me for a pint. I'm Ped, I'll be honest. Just let us know when you're coming over, Mark. We'll try and get you in the studio.
Yeah, come in here.
Try and get you in the studio and I'll make you a coffee.
This is the best
you like
place to
them
grab
apples?
a coffee, yeah? Yeah.
Let us know when you know. Well, I know you're coming over for Ipswich, but what I mean is let us know when you're arriving and all that stuff.
Not long now, is it?
Justin Holland says, good morning from Atlanta.
Georgia.
They're all there, loving it. Emma says, a year today since the man who gave me my love for the Blues passed away. My lovely dad, big hug. Oh. Yeah, absolutely. George says, Toffees, I'm an official member. Did the club move the ticket resale platform from the website? Appreciate it if anyone's able to.
I don't think so.
I am probably the worst person to ask for, like, is it still on the website? Yeah, apparently it's still there. I'm the worst person because I just don't use it, mate. So I can't give any
I don't go near the resale thing. now.
thingy. But yeah, probably. Michael says debt in itself is not a bad thing if the interest is easily manageable.
Yep.
Even the biggest companies in the world with loads of cash borrow money. Just that
Absolutely.
they have enough cash flow to service them.
Absolutely, yeah. Spot on.
Damien says, isn't it amazing how we were 500 to 600 million in debt? It was televised, spoke about by everyone, but yet not a mention of United being over $1 billion in debt.
No. Turnovers.
Gilly, no. Not the first team will play in that 21 game.
No.
But yeah, Everton, Liam, yeah. Dave Tamler says, hi from Auckland, New Zealand.
That's
Love
a
the
good
show.
one.
One of the very few times in a long time I've been looking forward to the next game. Yeah, definitely. It's been
You
a
missed
while.
the fact we haven't had
I
one.
did. It's been a while. Looking forward to Saturday, yeah. Wilmo says they don't want you to have a ticket back because they haven't got any Mars bars. Yeah, exactly. Well, the irony is they will give me my ticket. It's Zach and he doesn't eat Mars bars. That's the irony of it.
It's 2:32 in the morning in Auckland.
He's just there.
What a hero.
Happily watching.
Yeah.
You know, no problem.
Yeah.
No problem there. He's just there going, I'm up. It's early, but I'll see what the lads are saying.
It's Friday.
Friday's just chilling.
Yeah.
Chilling. Looking forward to the weekend. Can't wait for Everton to play.
I wonder if we should. I like this, as you know. So now we've got the guy in Auckland. He's the furthest east at the moment, isn't he? In the future for us. Who's the furthest west? Who's in the past? Must be west coast of the States somewhere, where it's only 5 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. Come on, guys. Someone on the west coast, come tell us who you are.
Well, we've had someone from San Antonio.
Yeah.
That's fully on the west coast. I mean, it's right over there, isn't
it's
it?
working its way there, yeah.
Right over there.
Don't know what time it would be
Matthew
there.
Hook
Sure they'll
says,
tell us.
hey, everyone from Texas.
Yep.
And there's Matthew. So he's quite far over. Dan has got a ticket for the test event. I can't wait to get in. Good lad, enjoy it, mate. Ped said it's boss, so go and enjoy it. John will be there as well.
I will. 7:30 in the morning in Houston.
Thank you for the Al. Happy anniversary. You said that before, but thanks again because others are obviously catching up who weren't watching from before. So just in terms of with the squad, and obviously if Garner is going to sign, which it looks like he is, and then Decore, we'll see, but doesn't get renewed there. We'll get more of this, won't we? We'll get information on Michael Keane.
Yeah, I think
go.
people
Dominic.
They go through all 12 or more.
Do you expect there to be any sort of information on message from me, mum. Any sort of information on Calvert-Lewin? Or do you think that one will just slide?
I think it'll just slide.
Yeah, I do. I don't think there'll be any sort of...
Do you think when he comes back he'll be involved a lot? Or do you think Moyes will look at it and think he's not going to be here next season? What's the point now that we're close enough to being safe?
I think Moyes will play him.
You do?
Yeah. I wouldn't.
Ahead of Beto, do you reckon, as well? Yeah?
I wouldn't personally, but I think Moyes will.
Because we were talking, weren't we, saying how there's players who are sort of, you don't really know if they're going to stay at Everton, like a Schmidt and a Patterson and stuff, and even an Alcaraz. And now that sort of a stance is made on Decore, he still might sign, and people like Alcaraz, will they still get game time? Can you see Decore playing as much
It's
now?
what you should do.
Yeah.
I've got you 2 tickets for the game, but one of them's from Mary.
No, I could get it. I just can't get the thingy. I can't get Zach's.
So when do we think he's likely to be
See, my thing is, there's John's doing the right thing and
doing things right?
doing things right.
Yeah.
Right? Moyes will, I imagine looking at it, Moyes will look and go, I want as many points as possible, which is you can't argue with that, because obviously if Everton jump 2 places,
More
that's
money to
6
spend on
million
players.
quid,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But if you're looking at it holistically and going, well, I'm not sure on Nathan Patterson. I'm not sure on Yusuf Chimiti. Charlie, is he good? Dwight's back. I don't know whether he would be, but say McNeil's back. Not sure on Dwight McNeil. I don't know if he's going to be part of it.
Got to see them.
Is there anybody else who's missing here? Brozier, even though we know he'll go, but he might look at Brozier and go, well, you'd be playing those 5 rather than Decore, Keane, Calvert-Lewin.
True.
Wouldn't you? I would. Jack Harrison, not staying there.
This is doing things right.
That's how I think he should do it. Oh, sorry, he'll do. Moyes does what he wants, as far as I'm concerned. But if I was looking at it, trying to make a decision, I would want him to do the other thing. Now some people might like that, they mightn't like that, but I would certainly, for the likes of Southampton are terrible.
Yeah.
And therefore, Southampton at home should have Patterson and it should have Alcaraz starting. It should have Chimiti involved, Brozier involved. These people who you're just not sure on, they should all be involved in it. Because A, they're all good enough to beat Southampton, but B, they should be there anyway, because he should be looking, going, do I need a right back? do I really need a right back, or am I happy to go with O'Brien and Patterson and Roman? Well, Roman Dixon should be on loan, really, because then it's a decision. Can he do it? He might never. He might be good enough to earn you 3, 4, 5 million quid off a Championship club if he isn't good enough to get in. And therefore, the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Decore, Michael Keane, others are just pushed basically to just being sub. You lot of subs. You know, Irabunum really should be starting, shouldn't he?
Sure.
You know, near the end of the season, he should be starting.
So are you talking about, in my terms, where doing the right thing, which is all the things, you know, what you're talking about, bumps up against doing things right? It was just characterised doing things right as pick your best team, and doing the right thing is think for the future. Yeah. And for the last game ever at Goodison, there'll be an extra pressure of you do not want to lose the last game at Goodison, do you? So he might just do a bit of both, mightn't he?
No, he might.
And his bit of both might be loading the bench with 5 first-team players.
I'm not saying like with 4, 5 games left, all of those lads play it. All of them play.
But you what I'm saying is, Southampton game.
I think you'd have to. I was just using that because they're down, aren't they? They've got 9 points. They're terrible.
True.
Everton really.
They were terrible when we lost to them as well.
No, we had a terrible manager when we lost to them. And the player, he told the players they were terrible, hence why they lost. But those players I'm naming should all be good enough to play for Everton in a team that batters Southampton by 4 or 5 on the last day, really, because the crowd should be.
No pressure on anyone.
That day, you shouldn't be able to hear yourself think.
No.
At Goodison, that should be like a Champions League semi-final as far as I'm concerned, in terms of noise level from us.
Flags everywhere, fans on it.
Noise right on it, and Everton should sign off with a 5, 6, 7-0 victory.
Which will go in the record books forever.
Overwhelm them, right? That's the dream.
Yeah.
I've been an Evertonian a long time to know it. The crowd will be quiet and we won't play well. Whatever. No, that's the thing. But obviously, he's got a call to make, hasn't he? But those players who we're talking about, this isn't going. Give Harris, you know, if Harrison Armstrong was there, or play Omari Benjamin and play, you know, this issue, you know, Odin Samuel Smith, and give Isaac Heath. I'm not saying that, are we? What we're saying is these lads who've all played in the Premier League, we need to know whether they're part of this squad going forward, because we don't want to be where we are again. We might Everton by that time. Ipswich and Southampton at home, they're the last 2 home games. By the time you get to there, we'll be safe anyway. And we might not really be able to move that much. We might, but we might not. And it might be the only time, you hope it is, the only time where you're looking and going, we've almost got 3 or 4 games that don't matter because they all matter, but 3 or 4 games where I can make them without there being any pressure on it. But what I'm doing is I'm seeing whether these lads can A, take my instruction on board, and B, add to the team, or whether I look and go, Nathan Patterson ain't gonna be for me. We need a new man. We need a new right back, whatever. Or Irabunum, tell you what, you know, rather than going, no, we're gonna play Ashley Young, and we're gonna, not that he plays him now, but you know what I mean. We're gonna play those players, and I'll make the decision on Patterson and Irabunum and in the summer once we've come back for pre-season training, because Dyche, you would have thought Sean Dyche would have done that last summer, and he didn't. It was the most disorganised pre-season I've ever seen. It was a disgrace, that pre-season, and everyone should have known by looking at. I mean, the fact when we lost the Sligo game, we looked like we hadn't even kicked the football, and we probably hadn't. But you can't do it in pre-season, because what Dyche then done was played his sort of best players who he wanted to play without putting the. Because I remember Wise Beto getting 10 minutes at Preston. Why is he getting brought?
Really got like proper chance.
No, why is he only bringing them on with 12 minutes left? Like, but it's a bleeding pre-season game. Everyone does half a game, then you do an hour. But even if you're the first choice, you still only do an hour, because you've got to make sure the lads who are on the bench getting enough games.
So if you've
done 7 or 8 games, you can balance it better then. But he didn't, because he didn't want to go anywhere.
I'm totally with you, and that's why coming games are all about winning points. Always, of course. But allowing the manager the freedom to do that. You imagine, just because you call out Southampton, and I think that's a decent shout, right? We start Nathan Patterson, right? The stadium's bouncing. They're not very good. There's no pressure on anyone. In a magic world, we've got really good points. We can't actually go up or down, or let's say we can go up, but we can't go. In other words, it's as stress-free as a Premier League game can be.
Yeah, yeah.
And Patterson stinks the place out. That'll help the manager make a decision.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Now, if he has a stormer, the manager can go, okay, with a following win, this guy can do it. So that's worth keeping, so to speak. So I don't think necessarily players in a game like that can
I'm going to say,
give themselves a career.
I know we drew at that massive Champions League winning 18 times club Sligo. I watched the game and we were an absolute disgrace.
You're getting called out again.
I said we drew, we didn't lose. I know, I can remember it, but weren't we 3-0 down? Or we were 2-0 down and then 3-1 down? Yeah, I remember it, mate. It's burnt on my head how pathetic we looked as a team that day.
Do you mean when the other team got tired? Yeah.
We literally only scored because Sligo ran out of juice.
Yeah. But it's not going to give you a career, but it might stop you getting thrown out the door, mightn't it? By showing in the right environment you can do it, right? But you said you play DCL. Isn't that contrary to all of that?
I'm saying what I think. No, I was telling you what I would do.
Okay.
But what I think they do.
Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. You said, you're right. Sorry, I beg your pardon.
We've been around this before because I wouldn't have played Dominic Calvert-Lewin in August.
No, you did.
That was an absolute.
I think Moyes would do this, is what you said, right? But so I have a query then. So if Beto continues to perform as he has, not missing 3 1-on-1s, but scoring goals, when do we think DCL may, if at all, is going to be ready to play a first team game? Anyone got any idea?
Me personally, he'd only get 15 minutes in every game.
No, I mean, when will he?
But when will Moyes put him back? I don't know, because he's not back on the grass.
That's what I mean. So it might be in the last couple of games.
Probably May.
Before he's ready, by which time the manager will have a very clear view of Beto, right? Which he might have already.
I think he's already got it.
Yeah, of course he does. And then you get into romantic type decisions, don't you? About just let DCL have a bit of a run out.
He doesn't need a run out.
Yeah. What?
He doesn't need a run out.
Not for me.
I'm back round the loop as where I was in August.
Yeah, not for me.
When it's set,
he doesn't want to be here. Yeah.
The people who were advocating Calvert-Lewin playing in August.
You mean me and Ped?
Yeah, it set us up for a terrible season because that sent the message. It's
our fault.
That sent the message out of where we were. There's not a chance he should have been anywhere near Everton starting lineup. Not a chance until the window shut. Good management was Thomas Frank. Real good management. In terms of Ivan Toney. He's not in my plans, he ain't playing. When we get past the window, he's still here.
But
he starts.
But
he wasn't. Go and have a look how many minutes he played. It was an absolute disgrace. It was a disgrace that Everton played him, in my opinion, because he showed zero commitment, and people backed it, and it just set us off in the wrong way.
I think.
So now, giving him a send off, he doesn't. If he's,
I'm not talking about a send off.
No, I know. I'm saying if he's ready to play, he probably will play near the end because I think Moyes will put him in.
But I'm agreeing with you.
No, I know you're right.
And the reason I said romantic is because I don't see any other reason for playing DCL other than.
But I think he'll play him because he thinks he's better than Beto. Well, that's what I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Bear with. Either A, because he's doing the right thing, which is playing his best centre forward, or B, he thinks he's been here a while, he's leaving, and I'll give him a few minutes.
I don't know whether
I can't think of any other reasons.
Yeah, I mean, he might, but Beto, we know Beto tires after 65, 70 minutes, so therefore Calvert-Lewin will. But that time, really.
I mean, coming on, we're talking about starting. But do you think he'll start?
I think he will play. If he's fit enough, I think Moyes will play because I think Moyes.
He'll start.
I think when you listen to David Moyes talk about Beto, you can tell he doesn't think he's at the top level.
Well, I don't.
Right?
Do you?
I think if you judge him by goals, he's Everton's best striker.
Yeah.
So therefore, and we've moved away from what is actually important for the centre forward, which is putting the ball in the back of the net. All the other stuff's nonsense.
Of course it is.
If you've got someone who can if your striker's crap but scores 20 Premier League goals a season, he plays. Chris Wood's crap.
Yeah.
He puts the ball in the net. 15,
or if your striker or leader of the line, whatever you want to say, has loads of assists because they're You know, they don't necessarily score many goals themselves, but the
if
team
you've got
does.
everyone else who's again, they're the nuances of it.
And that's the binary, isn't it? Which do you want? You know,
the nuances of it is get me a centre forward who puts the ball in the net. No, they're the perfect players, Mo Salah and people like that. But if you said to me, get me what do you want? Do you want a player who brings everyone into play? And
you'd say yes, but I want him to score goals.
No, or
as a binary, or a guy who scores 15.
The lad who just puts the ball in the net every other game.
Does not much else.
I go, I'd have him, please, because I know that I can rely on him. The other one might be great at, like, you know, pulling things down and holding people off, but if the rest of my teammate, it doesn't help. And that's the thing. But I think, I think Moyes, I think if Beto scores a game this season, and he's got sort of 6 or 7, I think Moyes will look and go, he's all right for the squad. He can do it. Because then going and getting, I mean, I think, what's he on? 6 is he on now, Beto?
Yeah, he's joint top scorer.
So he's on 6, right? Everton's joint top scorer, and he's averaging a goal every game, isn't he? Now, from starts, right? Yeah. So therefore, we've got 11 games to go, say. If he scores 4 more goals, then quite clearly he's Everton's best striker by some distance.
By goal scoring, yeah.
In terms of putting the ball in the back of the net, right? Go and find someone who you can guarantee can get you 10 Premier League goals.
And see how much you've got to pay.
And see how much, because there's not many, right? And that lad, even now when you break his goals down to game started, I'm sure he's a goal every other game. Yeah. If you do his start to what he's... In fact, it's less than that. It's a goal every...
6 best goals per 90 in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So therefore, go and try and buy...
And even earlier in the season when DCL was fit, his goals per minute played was much better than Dom.
Of course, right? So therefore, you look and you go, right, okay, is he ideal? No. Because he's
not your first choice,
like him, right? So you go, well, you know what? He gets your goals. He's awkward. If you give him chances, he gets the chances.
Yeah.
Games aren't passing them by now, are they? He's doing something in every game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So therefore, that's vital.
Big sets a bar as well.
Exactly, and he's a workhorse and all that. So therefore, he becomes... And I've said this, I was having a conversation with someone who's in... I was having a conversation with Piv the other day.
Someone who was in recruitment, you were going to say, right?
But we were talking about centre... And he was like, well, what are your... And I was like, what I want Everton to have next season is like 3 different profiles of striker. And I don't want any of them to be guaranteed to play. Because then you're giving the opposition a real issue.
You don't want the like-for-like replacement thing then?
No, we've had...
Because we've played that game, haven't we?
We've been wedded to Dominic Calvert-Lewin for years.
Indeed.
Right? To the detriment of the club and to the detriment of Dom, in my opinion. Because he's had injuries and this, that and the other. But we've been obsessed with this. You've got to have this big fella up front who we bang it long to. That's not football anymore. Them days are gone. They're gone. You can have a mix of it. But you can't be wedded to that. I don't think. This is just me talking.
I'm in agreement. Yeah.
So I want a different profile. Now, we've got Chimiti.
Which we've barely
But if you are being absolutely realistic over Chimiti, the lad needs to go out on loan next season.
Score loads of goals somewhere else.
He just needs to go out on loan. He's hardly played any football.
Yeah.
Now, that way then you're going, so we're losing another striker and Bro's just going and Calvert-Lewin's
You're basically less with Beto, yeah.
Right, so you've got Beto. And we want better than Beto, as in, we want him to be a bit cuter with the ball. He can still put the ball. So you have to buy him. You've got Beto in him. And then, arguably, you do need another one. Not even arguably. If you're letting Chimiti go out, you need 3.
No, well, that's what I thought that's where you were going, which is, we need the starter. I know you get in, you're trying to get into a perfect storm where you got 3 you don't know which one's starting type of thing. But manager's made his decision about Beto. If he's not made it, he will make it in a couple of goals' time. And it seems likely he could get a couple of goals before the end of the season. Yeah. You know DCL's going. You know Brosier's going back, right? You've got Chimiti. Deep down, you know he's best going out on loan. He's a development player. Therefore, you need 2
to come in
strikers. With your benchmark set from a goal output perspective being Beto. So you're basically looking for 2 strikers who can score double-figure league goals. Now, we end up with 3 strikers who are capable of double-figure league goals, and we're getting into the space where any club who are successful in this league are, which is they have multiples who can score double-figure league goals. And that's a lot of money.
No, it is.
Unless you find somebody from a league where they come with attributes that turn into goals, which is
Yeah, no, well, that's it.
going to be back round pace again, isn't it?
Yeah. And it is. It's dead easy for me to sit here and say that's what you need.
Yeah.
But that's what we need, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Because do we think that Dominic Calvert-Lewin will get double-figure goals?
In this squad, as we expect it to be.
He's not done it, has he, for years now? So why would he all of a sudden?
Because there's ifs. If he was available for all 38 league games, I think he would.
What did he get last year? He got 7 league goals. He was available for 35 games, and he got 4 penalties.
Yeah.
No, but I'm just saying.
Sorry, they've got to be open play goals. They can't, or free kick. They can't be penalties.
And I've protected Dom and I.
No, net of penalties.
And all that. So it's a difficult one. It's a real difficult
because
one.
the days since he got double-figure league goals are 5 years ago, aren't they?
Gone.
Yeah.
And he's had injuries.
So the risk is just too great. And we've conditioned ourselves as a fan base, and surely the playing staff at Everton have as well, is he's going because that's what he wants to do. Now, the fact he may have modified his view based on there isn't a queue of clubs queuing up for him at the amount of money he might want is not for us just to be the patsy of a bird in the hand and all that sort of stuff.
I think at the end of the day, he probably just needs to change, really.
Yeah.
I've got no sting towards him. He's been here and done. We've had really good value out of £1 million.
Oh God, haven't we?
Haven't we? So you just go,
even on a decent salary, you still
so you just go. You know what? It's the time has come for us to move on and for him to move on. So you let him go, don't you? You let him go. That, to me, what I was talking about with August was it was a real failing in the football club from the manager and the director of football to go, you're playing no matter what.
Oh, that was definitely an error.
It was embarrassing, really.
Yeah.
It should have been, you're in the squad, you're not going to be starting because you haven't committed to us.
Yeah.
If we get an offer by whatever it was, September 1st or August, whatever the date was, if you're still here after that, then obviously
and around that
the goalposts change.
Yeah, and around
but for him, I just go, if you want to go, off you go, shake hands and wish him all the best. Go,
And I can't remember the exact date, but it would have been certainly last year, obviously, by definition, right? But Kevin Thelwell came and spoke to the shareholders, at one of our shareholders association forums, and he said the exact words: "We cannot let DCL go out for free," but we have. There, in a nutshell, is it. Not even a power struggle. There was an absence of decision making, and therefore the status quo just persisted. Which is, he's our player. The manager thinks he's the best centre forward, maybe wrongly. And therefore he plays and he goes month upon month without score until he gets injured. And lo and behold, when the manager has to play Beto, and then the new manager comes along and starts saying, hey, let's attack as well. Before you know it, what you just said, he's the top 6 or something in goals per minute or whatever it is.
Just got to look, haven't we, Lyle? We've got to have a look and look at two different styles of striker. We need a runner, someone who can get in behind. I know a few people are mentioning Jonathan David, but I think a lot of clubs will be after Jonathan David, and the only way you're getting him really is by giving him big money. And then do you want to go round those houses again? But you do need you'll want a runner, because that's sort of what Brozier was, of get the ball to feet and take people on. So that profile, I didn't mind. And then the other one is, maybe the other one is someone further along than Schmidt, who's done it in Europe. So a younger striker in Europe with good attributes. Other, people are always being mentioned, aren't they? You've got, Bonnie and Joan Bonnie and people like that who are big and powerful. You've got these other strikers. I know Kevin Denke's gone off to MLS, but he was one. Kareem Konate, but he's had an ACL, so he's going to be out for a bit. But these young lads are there who have got a good profile and will be different. And what you're doing with that is, if you're sort of looking forward for another year, you then go, well, next season, the end of next season, Schmidt has proven he looks really good wherever he's gone. You can look then and go, well, our long-term plan is to move Beto on next summer, because Beto will be another year older, say he's 20.
Closer to the end of his contract.
27, 28, whatever. Closer to the contract. He'll have takers in Italy because he's doing it in the Prem. Schmidt comes back and just goes in. So the other two lads you've brought in with different profiles, Schmidt just drops nicely into there as a 21-year-old or whatever.
Hell, you're talking about having a plan, mate.
Oh, well, that ready-made. And, and if Brozier if you could see into the future and someone went, right, I can tell you now, Brozier's going to be available for 34 of Everton's 38 games next season, and Chelsea are going to let you take him again on loan. He'd be a perfect one to take with that profile, because he is different than what we've got. Then you'd only need one. The reality is,
it's too much of a risk.
Yeah, it's a massive risk, and Everton won't do that. So that's where we probably find ourselves. Then at a push with that squad you've got, even with a couple of injuries, you'd also have Illiman and Jai who go through the middle if you needed them to, just as an emergency. If the Corey hangs around on a lower contract, he could go through the middle as a striker if you needed them to, in an emergency basis. But that's where we are with
Schmitty's not 21 till May.
See,
he's still young, isn't
he? But he's had no football.
No, not at all.
And that's the issue with him. You get greedy and go, no, I want him here, and I want him on the bench for us because I want him to be a viable option.
Yeah.
But the reality is,
look at Jared Branthwaite, and he's the perfect example, isn't he? He had like a bit of a stint at Everton, and then we loaned him out, and he came back, and he's amazing.
Lee went to Blackburn, didn't he? And then he went off to Holland.
Yeah.
And he had time at Everton before that as well. Didn't he?
No, you're right. He'd been in at Everton and he wasn't getting anywhere and bits, and then he went out. You're absolutely right, and that's really what Schmidt. You'd like
the blueprint of that.
Exactly. You'd like to think he's going to be. You'd like to think he's going to be available for sort of like the last. Is it 11 games we've got left? Is it, right. So the last 11 games, you'd like to think he'll be available for all 11, and you'd like to think in a portion of them, he'll get real minutes, as in, and
not 5 minutes.
You'd like to think,
half an hour and stuff.
Yeah, and you'd like to think he'd impress enough where Moyes would go. Actually, Ipswich at home, Schmitty's start.
Yeah,
you know, we're going to give him an hour. Beto, you're on the bench. Whatever. I'm not saying that would happen, but you know what I mean. And then you look at Schmitty and look what he's done in them games, and you go, yeah, he's still a little bit raw. Let's get him on loan for the season, and that's where you move to the next thing. That's really got to be all of the plan, because the strikers are the key. They're absolutely key. Look what we've had with Beto, because we had someone who puts the ball in net at the top end of the pitch. We're winning games.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then the other night was a big indicator of the others aren't weighing in, because he had a night where he missed chances.
And no one else.
And we had to rely on Jake at the back post to score. Where was Lindstrom? Where was Harrison? You know, where was...
That's right, yeah.
The way?
He wasn't on the pitch.
Who? No, I've just mean in general. No, I mean in general till he got subbed.
I want to raise a counterpoint. Put my mic up.
Go ahead.
What mic are you for?
Yeah.
Schmitty's not going anywhere. He'll be 22 by the time he comes back from loan.
No.
He stays and fights it out with Beto. We buy a really good right-sided forward.
You still want another one, though, I think.
I know, but he's 22 when he comes back from loan, so therefore if you buy anyone, you're blocking his progress.
You'll be ready to sell Beto next year.
Why are we so obsessed with selling Beto? He's fucking boss.
Because he'll be another year. Because he'll be another year.
He's only 27.
But he'll be closer to the end of his contract.
You love him. Why do you want to sell him?
I'm saying another year. If he bangs in 50 goals,
why are we obsessed with selling players? Why can't we keep him?
Sell them all.
Why can't we just keep him and let him and Schmitty fight it out? Buy a really good... We've got a good left-sided player in Jai. Get a really good right-sided player where you spend loads of your money, and let Schmitty and Beto fight it out. Dom's going. That's fine. That's done. And then... Why... We don't need to upset the apple cart, because the apple cart's getting upset by the Corey situation and probably not the Ghana situation, but sorting out your full-backs, getting a top right-sided midfielder. I don't think the centre forward...
I think we need 3, though.
Bro, get bin, bro. Brozier's gone. Brozier will probably be working in a meat factory by the end of next year, because I just don't see him playing at the... He can't play top-level football. Go and play in the MLS or somewhere. He can't play top-level football. Get another one. But why not go and get a 17-year-old then? We've got one playing for the under-21s there who looks half-decent, Braden Graham. Not saying he's ready yet, but if you go and buy another centre forward, though, you could block the progress of Schmitty and a Braden Graham. I would be looking at an absolute top-class right-sided.
No, that's absolutely
forward
with pace
winger who's got pace to burn, and he's your number one target. But Brozier and Dom are gone, aren't they? So
and that's where, if you follow the debate, and let's just call it, you want to get 2 central strikers, we'll call it, 2 forwards, we'll call it. And you go to a manager, pretend I'm the director of football, and I say to you, do you want this 50, 60 million pound dog's Watsits of a right-sided striker, but you can only have him? Or do you want these 2 25 million pound ones? Yeah. Now, if you're the same person who's actually making the decisions. It all stands and falls on what you decide. He's
No,
give a
of course,
contrary view,
No,
hasn't he?
yes, and it's not wrong. I'm just saying, with Chimitti's development, just because he's not played any games, is a worry. But that's where maybe the next 11 games, and it probably you want to get him up to speed. Maybe the last half a dozen games, he's banging on the door, going, "I want to play me, let me, whatever."
Chimitti's played 42 games in his career.
50 odd with cup games,
Half
isn't
of
it?
them at Everton. So
Yeah,
he's not
18
really
is it
played
with
at
us?
all.
And he's
18
made
league
one
games.
start.
Yeah, so he's not really played at all.
Bear in mind, he's not really played for us for a couple of years, and he's only 20. So at Sporting, he was 16 and 17 when he was making those appearances.
He made 22 appearances for them,
Yeah,
scored 6.
yeah.
It's not the best.
But part of that's where it bounces up against the short-term needs of a manager versus the long-term needs of the club, and indeed the players themselves. Because you're right, you say Chimitti needs development. That development with the right purchase of the right type of striker alongside Beto can be here, can't it?
It could be, yeah. I'm just saying, if you're looking out, I'm just
So if
talking.
you're David Moyes, because you knew previously, it's David Moyes thinking, yeah, I'll go into a Premier League season with the window closed. It's September the 1st, and my 3 strikers are this guy we paid for 50 odd million for, who came from Portugal, Chimitti and Beto. I can't imagine he thinks that's a good idea because of the risk profile.
I suppose if he had Njai and he had Alcaraz,
maybe, and that's what I mean. If he thinks,
he might go, what?
I can take that risk to
He's done it
January.
with Kudus, didn't he? They ended up buying Kudus, didn't he?
Yeah, in the end, yeah.
And he's done it with Bowen.
And that's why it needs to be integrated, doesn't it? And
Well, he'll know what he wants, won't he? I'm just thinking out loud, just going, well, look at the way the squad isn't there likely to go, and would you want to develop Chimitti? And if he goes out on loan, you got to bring 2 in, because you can't just have Beto, and then how's it look that way? These are all the conversations that they've got to
when
have.
we do the business stuff, and the same should apply in any business, right, is you make a decision, don't you? And what was happening before is decisions were not being made.
No.
So let's say the decision is, come what may, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Ambrosia, whatever, and next year. That then brings into play other decisions. What am I going to do with Beto? What am I going to do with Chimitti? And whoever else is next down the track from the academy, say.
Yeah.
And that then turns into I need at least 1, ideally 2, for want of a phrase, it's very vague, proven forwards. And whoever says, well, that's going to cost X, and X is half our budget or whatever, right?
Of course.
And then you start
Not
doing
easy, is it?
Then you're prioritising that over a right back or whatever. And when we spoke about it the other day, we actually want 2 progressive fullbacks, don't we? 21st century fullbacks, i.e. one on the left and one on the right. And like any squad, we want Chimitti. I beg your pardon, where did that come from? Mikalenko, someone better.
You want Chimitti to play left back, John?
Calvert-Lewin played right back.
Yeah. We got Mikalenko. So there's no point whatsoever in us getting a left fullback who's not, quote, better than him, whatever that means.
No, of course.
But you have them competing then. On the right side, there's more urgency because we don't know about Patterson.
Yeah.
He has had bits and bobs of opportunities and not covered himself in glory.
Yes.
But he might argue I'm the sort of player who needs a run and all those sorts of things. And then sometimes what you have to do, I think, in business is you have to make decisions which make other decisions mandatory, i.e. you can't hide behind them. And that therefore means there needs to be decisions made about Coleman and Young as players, I mean. And once they are made, and you know that, if you like, they're locked in, it's like deal, no deal in it, are you locked in, I'm locked in, sort of thing, then it makes you have to make other decisions.
Yeah.
And you put self-pressure on yourself, because the easiest thing in the world is to keep experience.
Of course. I don't think Seamus himself will stay.
I think Seamus makes it easier because he knows himself.
I think he'll go. He's going to coach.
Yeah,
Seamus.
absolutely.
He's going to coach.
And then Young. There's a debate to be had there.
We'll see. I think Young will go as well.
I think so.
But if Everton kept him on a low, it wouldn't bother me, because I think he's a good squad player.
And he's cost effective at the moment, isn't he? So.
There you go. Interesting.
Want to go and play with his lads, don't we?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, imagine that. He just went signed for Peterborough.
Yeah.
Played with that. Right, last couple. Keith Seymour says, afternoon, guys.
Hi, Keith.
What's your thoughts on Coleman? We've just done that.
Yeah.
The sentimental part of me would love him to captain the side against Southampton and walk out as captain in our first game at Bramley Moor. I don't see that
one.
I don't, unless it was a pre-season friendly.
Hey, you could playing the under-21 games.
Yeah, he might do, yeah, if he's available. Play him, play Chimity, play Brozier, if he's...
No, you'd break Brozier. Brozier would probably lean on part of the stadium and it'd break. Or something.
He'd break.
He'd break and the standards break.
Makes your decision easier then.
Okay.
I've got nothing against the lad, but he is
Fragile.
fragile.
Fragile, yeah,
He is
that's a good
fragile.
way to say it. Fragile. Right, I'm leaving it there. Thank you, everyone. Like, subscribe, do all that. The match preview will be out in a bit. Ahead of our trip to Wolves, obviously, so make sure you check that out. Like, subscribe, do all that. Big thanks to John. See you all later.
Cheers,
Bye.
guys. Enjoy.